Welcome to the Knakal News Network. Knakal News Network is brought to you by Massey Knakal Realty Services, New York's #1 building sales firm.
Hi, I'm John Hageman, Sales Team Manager for Massey Knakal. Welcome to the Knakal News Network. Today I'm here with Bob Knakal, Chairman of Massey Knakal. So Bob, in past episodes we've talked about the characteristics that you think make up what it takes to become a top broker. Today I want to maybe talk about the skills that it takes to become a top broker. And something that you've talked about a lot is the Magnificent Seven. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to what that means?
Sure, I do mention the Magnificent Seven, and I'm not talking about that 1960s movie with Steve McQueen and Charles Bronson, The Magnificent Seven, which is a great movie, by the way. But I'm talking about 7 skills that top brokers need in order to be successful in our business. And actually, of these 7, the skill that you are the weakest at will determine how well you do. Those 7 skills are prospecting, establishing rapport, identifying needs accurately, presenting your services, overcoming objections, negotiating, and getting repeat business.
So Bob, the first one's prospecting. Can you explain?
Sure. Well, prospecting is trying to find business, trying to find people in our line of work, folks that want to sell buildings. So the way you typically prospect for them is to send mail to them periodically, to keep your name in front of them, make phone calls to them regularly, trying to establish some type of relationship with them, to get out to networking events, try to meet people face to face. And anybody that you're speaking to who's a participant in the real estate market, you should be asking them if they have any needs or desires. But prospecting is something that is a very slow, methodical process of remaining very disciplined and continuing to do the things you're supposed to do each step of the way.
Next was establishing rapport.
Establishing rapport is basically developing a relationship with a prospect. And a big part of it is just having people skills and developing a relationship with the people that you work with or that you want to work with. I've often found that it's very helpful to find something that you have in common. Maybe you're both Yankees fans. I know you're a Red Sox fan, but maybe you're both Yankee fans, and then you can develop a relationship around that commonality.
Identifying needs accurately. What do you mean by that?
I think identifying needs really comes down to being a good listener. Clients have objectives that they want to achieve, and often salespeople tend to talk, and not listen so well. But it's important to ask questions to figure out exactly what the motivation of your client is and what their ultimate objectives are. Not everyone has the same objectives. It's not always just to sell at the highest price. They could have timing concerns. They could have transactional structure returns. And it's important to probe, ask a lot of questions, figure out what their objectives are, and that way you can tailor your services directly towards what that particular client is looking for.
Bob, tell us about presenting your services.
Well, presentations are an integral part of our business. You know, Hags, we do presentations on a very voluminous basis. We do several every week. Sometimes you have enough time to go through every detail, and other times you have to condense it because you don't have a lot of time to speak to that particular potential seller. So it's important to be able to hit the key points. And as always, you should practice your presentation. No matter how many times you've done it, we practice all the time, and that practice is critical to making sure you deliver a clear message to the client.
Overcoming objections. I know this is one of your favorites.
Overcoming objections is something that is critically important. There are always issues that come up, and often those objections are caused by not really fully understanding what the program can deliver. And sometimes you have to dig very deeply to find out what the real objection is. If somebody says, well, I don't want an exclusive, that's not an objection. That you don't know what their issue is with the exclusive. But if you're able to probe and ask enough questions to figure out exactly what the issue is, then you can overcome it.
Negotiating. Talk about that.
A lot of times having the skill to negotiate in a way that convinces the owner that they are meeting their objectives or illustrates to them how they're meeting their objectives by doing something or not doing something is critically helpful. I think that there are several books that have been written about negotiation. I think those books are very, very helpful because negotiation overlaps and dovetails very significantly with psychology. Also, if you have young children, you become a great negotiator because you're constantly negotiating with them. So even if you're not in the real estate business, but you want to deal with your kids better, learning how to negotiate is something that could really be helpful.
And lastly, getting repeat business.
Well, getting repeat business is very, very important because it's the easiest business to get. If you've worked for a client in the past, you've done a good job for them, they already know who you are, they know what you can do for them. That should be the easiest business that you possibly could get. The key to getting that repeat business is staying in touch with those folks that you've represented in the past. As you know, we keep a list of all the people that we've represented in the past selling properties. We keep in touch with them very regularly, and it's so nice to get that call from one of those folks saying, hey, I have another property I want to sell. So it's important to keep a list of the people that you've represented and make sure that you constantly stay in touch with them. In summary, The Magnificent Seven is not a movie from the 1960s, but are 7 key skills that brokers need to be successful in the commercial real estate business. Working intensely on the skills that you are weakest at puts you in a position to maximize your results.
Thank you for joining us today. Tune in next week for another installment on the Knakal News Network.